Welcome to Integrity Inspire, your daily dose of inspiration and motivation, featuring the bright and talented members of the Integrity Marketing Group family. Now, here's your host, Integrity co-founder and CEO, Brian W. Adams.
Well, thank you, everybody, for joining today's Inspire podcast. We're so excited to just have an opportunity to catch up every morning and just learn from the legends in our business. Well, these podcasts, in my opinion, just keep getting better and better and better. And I've just learned so much from all the talented people. And there's some commonalities that just come up about hard work, humility, and being willing to do what others frankly won't. What I continue to take away from that experience, and this experience, I think will really help just me in my career, but I think for all of us will help us all in our career. And it really makes sense that when you think about it, about really getting to know people. Life is about stories. Life is about getting to know people and really learning from others that have been there before. And today's guest has all sorts of interesting experiences in life and in business, and just one of those guys that, in my opinion, just is so much fun to hang out with and exciting to be around. He is always ready to help others grow and to kind of take them under his wing and share just life experiences and just different opportunities that he's had. And he's always looking for ways to help others get to where they want to be. Integrity Marketing managing partner Raymond C is a man who is both big in stature but also big in spirit. He's 6'4". He's a man's man, big guy. He played both basketball and baseball in college and pitched in the minor leagues before hanging up his spikes and beginning his insurance career. In his 35-plus years in the insurance business, he has frankly done a little bit of everything, including working as the chief operating officer of one of the largest individual health agencies in the U.S. In 1994, him and his partner, Lindsay Leonard, co-founded the Pinnacle Group and built it into a preeminent distributor of health and life insurance products in the U.S. If character is something that you build over time, this guy has built a perfect blueprint for it. He just flat out refuses to back down from any challenge, and just is one of the guys that I admire most in the business. Raymond, thank you so much for taking time to join us on today's podcast. This is, for me, has been just such an honor to be able to talk to the people that I admire the most in the business, and you're certainly one of those guys, my friend. So thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you, Brian. It's an honor to be on the call with such a distinguished list of people that have come before and is soon, sure to come after.
Man, listen, I think you actually are the first former professional athlete who's appeared on our podcast. Don't tell Steve Young that, because we need to get Steve on here at some point. But there's just been so much rich content from our partners. We hadn't had time to do that yet. But I think you're the first professional athlete that's ever joined us. What were some of the lessons that you learned from that part of your life?
Well, Brian, I wouldn't really categorize my professional career as lucrative or long. I played for about a year and a half, and the most I got paid to play was $750 a month back in 1979. I had a AAA contract when I decided to give it up, finish school. I only had 6 hours left of college, and go to work to take care of my family. I was lucky to be able to play sports growing up. Back then, there wasn't Nintendos or any distractions, and your mom wanted you out the house, and you needed to be out the house and doing something. So I grew up with two brothers and in a neighborhood where we all played whatever it was the season to play. And one thing that I quickly learned, in sports is that you can't succeed alone, and that's been a lesson in business as well. And I'm grateful every day for the relationship I've had with my business partner, Lindsay Leonard. He's truly one in a million. Absolutely the hardest working person I've ever known, next to my grandfather. It's important to build strong, lasting relationships, and not always just for your own gain, but to help each other out and to help other people. And that's what's great about integrity, is the values that we have as partners translate to the corporate level as well. And that's a real credit to you and Mike and Tom and the people who started this deal.
Well, I appreciate that. And, we talk about this a lot, the fact that relationships are everything. And that's one of the commonalities that we've heard throughout this time with this Inspire podcast is just the power of relationship, how much relationship matters for all of us. And they're really, really and truly the bedrock of our business. This is a people helping people business. And if we ever forget that, we're going to lose the business. And when you learn to work hard together as a talented team, anything is frankly possible. And I love the fact that you just gave a shout out to Lindsay, because he is certainly an incredible guy and a hardworking person, that's for sure.
Well, Brian, that's what it takes to succeed in business, is hard work and teamwork. And perseverance. I learned a lot of great lessons from sports, in playing sports, but there are two that particularly stand out over the years that are fairly applicable to what we've gone through in business. And I think what a lot of integrity partners have gone through. When I was playing basketball in high school, there was a sign over the locker room door. And you used to read it every time coming out of the locker room, and it said, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. I came from a fairly modest background in Louisiana. Hard work is part of my heritage. My grandparents were rice farmers in South Louisiana, and for them, quitting wasn't an option. They didn't have a choice if the weather was bad or something didn't go right. They had pests or insects in the rice, but they just had to keep working hard, and they knew they'd come out on the other side. I think they had a tremendous faith in God. My grandmother was a very devout Catholic, and I remember going to church with them on Sundays, every Sunday. It was back when the ladies had to wear, something on their head. They couldn't go in church. And it was a great time, I think, in my life. I think watching my grandfather work. He worked till he was in his 70s. He farmed till he was in his 70s, and he lived till he was in his 90s. And that's been an inspiration for me, certainly. And there's always going to be challenges, but as we've heard from many of the integrity partners, there's a tremendous perseverance and work ethic, I think, that we all have.
Yeah, that is. It's been interesting on these podcasts how many people have gone through significant challenges. I mean, significant challenges, and overcome those in just amazing ways. Challenges are completely guaranteed, right? I mean, I don't care who you are, you're going to face them in business and in life. But how you respond to them is really everything. It's everything whenever it comes to it, right?
That's absolutely correct. I mean, it kind of brings me, Brian, to the second lesson I learned from sports and playing sports. And when I was young, another thing that my parents, had me go do was attend basketball camps during the summer. We'd have the coaches at the high schools would get together and have these basketball camps. And most of what we did was all kind of fundamental drills. And, drills are important, certainly, because they help you master the fundamentals through, repetition. And there was no goofing around. It wasn't like, you were there for a purpose, and you were paying money to go to this camp, and they weren't going to let you just goof off. And one of the drills that kind of stuck in my head, because I never saw the value of it at the time, was the pivot drill in basketball, where you rotate. If you have a defender on you, you rotate away from them, and you have a pivot foot, and that foot stays still, and you could pivot with the other foot. And it's something that's kind of translated to business as well, in that, when you're faced with some type of adversity, we've made a pivot. The whole Integrity family made a pivot during this thing. And as you've said, we're having record weeks as a company. We've got some all-stars that are on the team. And what we're learning today will absolutely change the way we do business in the future. And it's applicable. I think things in sports are very applicable to things in business and in life.
Man, I think that's an incredible analogy. I remember playing basketball as a kid. I was never as good as you are. I must be straight, but I remember that pivot drill, and you sometimes you don't realize. Like I remember doing like calculus and stuff, going, how in the world am I ever going to use this? And honestly, I still don't really use that stuff anymore. But if you think about how analogous sports are to just life, and if you pay attention, how important it is, and ways that you can just kind of learn about just how to focus on life using sports analogies. Man, those are just fantastic lessons. And I'm guessing they've come in handy a lot in your career, especially as good of an athlete as you were.
Well, yeah, they've helped me from day one, and it's kind of like not a thing that you thought about while you were going through it. It was more ingrained and instinctive. You didn't know it at the time when your coaches were beating you up and telling you to do this or do that, and at the time you just didn't see the whole picture. And it's the innocence of being young, but also the discipline of doing what you're told and following that guideline. And they've certainly helped Lindsay and I together in building Pinnacle and going through a lot of the things that we went through, because there was not always smooth sailings, and things, the going got tough at different times, and we've had to pivot more than a few times, but we were able to keep going and persevere.
Yeah, man. What you guys have built at Pinnacle is phenomenal over the years. I mean, what you guys have done, and then now kind of what we're doing with you guys and Savers, and just the opportunity of both of you guys is really exciting. But tell us a little bit about how you and Lindsay came together and really built Pinnacle.
Well, we were working in the insurance business together, and working for a guy, and we just said, hey, look, I think we could do this on our own. I was living in Texas at the time and commuting back and forth every week to North Carolina, and met Lindsay here. Again, we were able to start the agency, and we had no agents, we had no premium in force. We put together a game plan on what we were going to do, and we were selling one product. It was a private label product that I had a relationship with an insurance carrier It was a small B-plus rated carrier. And we were able to put it together, and within just a couple of months, we were doing absolutely great. We felt like, the plan was coming together, and we were at a pinnacle, at least, pun intended, that in our career. Then, we got sued by the guy that we worked for previously because of our success. We did it the right way. We left. We didn't take any lists or anything like that. We spent money to develop, but I had, over the previous 10 years, new agents all over the country. So, that type of thing you can't take away. And it was messy. It was a messy lawsuit. It drained all of our working capital. It took away our time. We were still trying to run a business. There was 3 of us in the office trying to run a business, and and we made it through that. Picked up the pieces and got started again. But the carrier that we were with, hid from us the fact that they were in a squabble with their reinsurance carrier, and they were thinly capitalized to begin with. I think they had 17 million or so of capital in surplus, and that wasn't a lot really for a major med company, but it was the only one that we had to deal with. And they drained their capital in surplus in this dispute with the reinsurance carrier, and they went bankrupt. And the first thing that happens when they go bankrupt is they quit paying your commissions. And we were advancing, commissions out of our own pocket. It was the model that we chose to go with, and it was a real catalyst for our success. But we didn't quit. We persevered through that situation, and we found another carrier, and we rewrote the block of business, and we got started again. And then 3 years after that, that carrier goes bankrupt. We thought we were cursed. So we every 2 or 3 years, we're having to start all over again. And the good part about it, I guess, was that we knew we could write business. I mean, we knew we had the marketing savvy to be able to write business, and we had the right formula. It was all the peripheral things, thinly capitalized carriers and stuff like that. But by this time, we had gotten kind of a name in the business, and we were able to persevere through that. And again, our story is not unlike many of the other integrity partners that we've heard on these podcasts. It's just we're all coming together now and telling these stories, and it's amazing when I listen to it, the similarities, like you pointed out earlier in the broadcast today.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing how people go through all of these different challenges and just stick it out. And even when people tell you you're crazy for sticking it out, the people who have stuck it out, have done incredibly well and helped a lot of people through that process. Man, you guys had 2 carriers file bankruptcy, and that used to happen even more, where you would be so successful, you would. A carrier would, launch a product, and you would sell so much of it that it would put them out of business almost, and which was kind of a crazy deal. That's one of the reasons, we try to make sure at Integrity we work with the strongest companies possible, because you can, especially with our size and scale, I mean, we can write so much business so fast that small, undercapitalized businesses can really struggle with that. But man, 2 carriers filing bankruptcy in the really early days, that would be enough for a lot of people just to throw up their hands, hang up their cleats, no pun intended here for you, but just walk away. But you're like Billy Ocean. When the tough gets going, the tough get when the going gets tough, the tough get going, right?
Well, I mean, again, that was an old mantra back in the high school days. And the odd part about it, Brian, is that, our business that we were writing was profitable for both of the carriers. We understood that it had to be a win-win-win situation, that we just couldn't win on commissions, that they had to win on profitability of the business, loss ratios, and the clients had to win. We had to have products that were designed to appeal to a certain segment, of the population. And we mostly marketed to self-employed people that they were individuals and they were paying for their own coverage. We weren't in the group market at all. And it was a specific market with specific product. And, again, I got to give a lot of credit to my partner because, without him there, burning the midnight oil a lot of times and working through these situations, it would have been a tremendous burden. And we just refused to quit. I mean, we had so much invested in it that we just put our heads down and worked through it every day. I don't think we ever thought about having to go to work for somebody else during that time. I mean, we were missing paychecks and stuff, but we didn't worry about it. And so we knew how fast it could flip, how fast things could come out if we just find the right mix.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of brings me to, it brings us to today, right? With the challenges that we're facing with all the different, state orders and the different, slowdown that we've seen in the economy and things of that nature. There's like this moment that people, especially investors, go, oh my gosh, like what is going to happen to your business? Are you guys going to be okay? All these type of things. And my initial response, without hesitation, is that we're going to be fine. What are you talking about? Like, we've got 270,000 agents that are the most creative, most innovative, most committed people in the business. We've got about 1,000 employees that are the most committed, dedicated people in the business. Most of our people have heard no their entire life, and they've just continued to fight through it and just been driven to get through it. And I was incredibly confident in that, and it's proven out. And that's part of the idea of this podcast is let's all just get together and let's talk about ideas, share best practices, look for different ways that we can continue to grow and expand. And in those times that you and Lindsay were going through those really tough times, you believed in yourselves, and that continued to help drive you. Failure was not an option. You weren't looking for other options of what else we're going to do, how are we going to get out of this, and things of that nature. And people don't appreciate how important confidence is in business, right?
Well, that's right. I mean, especially when you have your backs against the wall or you're going through some adversity, it's easy to have confidence when things are going right. And and it's smooth sailing. You can sing down like Ian Poulter, down the golf course, when things are going right. But when things are going wrong, you better believe that you can make it happen, because it's just not going to happen otherwise. And over time, we both learned a lot. That's what growing up in business is about. Diversified some offerings, got into the senior space. We adjusted our plans in contracts to kind of better protect ourselves, to help us foresee problems earlier. Because we were advancing money. We didn't get our first advance from a carrier for agent advances. We were a one check agency, and we paid the agents out of our agency. And we didn't get an advance commission from a carrier until we were well into about 8 or 9 years into our existence. We had our own money that we had scraped together. We had some silent partners that were involved in it, that were friends. And we went to the bank and we borrowed money from the bank, and go try to get a bank to loan you money on commission, on commission income. It's you would think it would be easy, like a factoring a receivable or something, but it took us a year of explaining to this banker who believed in us as managers to be able to get that done. So we continue to work hard, monitor, watch, and then pivot, when we needed to pivot.
Yeah, listen, that is a hard thing to explain to people about how commissions work and how things, are done in the business. We laugh a lot of times. It's funny when people ask, what do I do for a living? And especially like with friends or at a party or whatever. And I love to watch my wife because she still stumbles around, trying to explain exactly what we do a lot of times. And so trying to explain that to a banker and things, I've done it before, and it can certainly be challenging. And you and Lindsay are both CPAs. You both are way more educated and way smarter than I am. And if it's hard for me or my wife to explain it, you kind of being there and going through that, it had to be frustrating for you in a lot of ways. But man, all of your success really happened, I think, just because you flat out refused to quit. You and Lindsay just said, well, failure's no option here. We're going to do whatever it takes, and let's just keep going. And man, when the going got tough, man, you just kept going, right?
Well, we got going, we're still going, and we're always working to improve. And, you talk about talking to Robin, about work and stuff. I don't think that Donna or Bonnie ever knew how close we were to being, on the street. Lindsay and I were talking about that the other day, and we were kind of reminiscing about some things. And I said, you didn't tell Bonnie any of this. And I said, because I'm not sure that I told Donna a single thing. She knew that we were working hard and everything, but she didn't have any clue that we owed the bank $2.5 million, and we weren't worth 2 cents at the time. So anyway, that's a really funny point. Tom and Mike and I remember Tom and Mike and I, and several years ago, that we were going out, and we'd been asked, several of these people had said, hey, would you partner with us, or would you buy our agency? And so, we're sales guys, and we always see the opportunity in something. So we were going out and doing that, and there was a moment in time that, we were signing personal guarantees on everything. We were, literally every deal we were doing, and we did 7 or 8 deals on our own. And we were signing personal guarantees. And there was a moment there that Tom and Mike and I were sitting down, and I said, do these people know, we don't really have anything to back some of this stuff up? And honestly, if any of you guys ever tell Robin that we're signing this many personal guarantees, I'm going to kill you, because she would she would lose her mind. She's not a risk taker at all. And I was like, if Robin ever finds out that we're this much debt and we're signing all these personal guarantees, I'm going to kill you guys. And they're like, what are you talking about? Don't tell Trish and Shelly either, because we wanted to find out. So we were all in it together. So Tom and Mike and I can relate, because there was a lot of moments like that for us. I'm sure a lot of the integrity partners have gone through the same thing with their spouses. And the good news of all of that is that now you can actually share some of that reward with them without them knowing the risk that was associated with that reward. But
that's true. That's true.
Well, I've got one more thing, Brian. I've got one more thing that I've learned, and I think it's important, to everybody, and it's something that I've always preached, around is that, set a high bar. If you're doing something, set a high bar, and Integrity certainly has done that. They continue to raise the bar. All the partners, average is just not good enough for people in our family, and they all know that hard work and perseverance will always be kind of the deciding factor when you have people of equal ability. I mean, there are plenty of people with ability out there that are talented and stuff. They just don't have, I think, the deciding factors, and that's hard work and perseverance. And the drive and commitment, helped us rebuild several times in our careers, and now we're kind of reaching a new pinnacle by partnering with Integrity, and we can't say enough good things about this relationship, and we've tried to spread that good word with other people that we know, and it's just going to get better. It's just going to get better.
Wow. And what a pinnacle it is, man. We're so grateful that you and Lindsay decided to join Integrity and become partners. Raymond, thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you for encouraging me. I remember meeting you as a younger guy in the business, and I always just felt so encouraged by you and honestly included by you, frankly, where others might discount some younger guy in the business. You always included me and made me kind of feel like one of the guys, which had a big impact on me and still does, and I want to do that as we see the kind of next generation even come up in the business. So thank you for all that you've done for our industry. Thank you for all that you've done for me. Thanks for all that you and Lindsay have done for Integrity. It's just such a great reminder what this call has been, the value of being able to continue to work through those challenges, big and small, and how character is built just over time. But really appreciate, Raymond, you joining us today. Really appreciate the opportunity to visit with you a little bit more. And I know everybody else really enjoyed it too. You inspire us, brother, and appreciate all you do. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Brian.
Love you, man. Tell Donna hi for us. And thanks everybody for joining today. Excited to continue to have these podcasts and this opportunity for us just to start off our day together. Hope everybody has a great day. We'll talk to you all soon. God bless you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.